No more eating on the show, Waz.
Oh, please. I'm not even going to dignify that statement with a response because...
No more pad thai.
Yeah, right.
You eating pad thai?
He was yesterday.
Yeah. Oh.
Can I drink coffee, or is that like, let's say if I drink it like this?
Yeah. It's like, just make it as loud as possible.
Listen, okay. Dave, that's like the pot calling the kettle thon maker. Yeah.
Oh boy.
That boy is dark.
I am uncomfortable. Welcome to the Wednesday edition of the Basketball Buds. What are we? Back to back. Shit, I messed that up. Welcome to a Wednesday edition of the Back to Back podcast on the Count the Things Network. I'm Zach Harper. I've got Big Waz, and I've got Dave Schilling.
Yeah.
Of Bleacher Report.
What is this show that I'm on? I'm sorry, I've lost track. You've had like 12.
It's the basketball anthropology.
Right. the basketball diaries. Is that taken?
Yesterday, a Sixers fan on Twitter said I was way funnier back in the basketball analogy days.
Ooh.
And that I've fallen off.
12 years? When did that happen?
You're anti-process, right?
I'm not anti-process. I'm anti-lionizing guys who figured out that you get more lottery balls for losing. Oh. I mean, really. Genius.
Hey, but they had to pick him, didn't they? They had to pick him.
They had to pick Ben Simmons #1 overall. Bravo.
I don't know, that Chris Dunn.
Yeah.
That Chris Dunn. He's put a basketball in the hoop before.
Once or twice.
Could have picked him.
No, they couldn't have.
Dave is of Bleacher Report fame. You also do the Masked Man podcast.
Yes.
Yes, I do. Why is Waz answering for me? Yes, I do. Yes, he does. What else does Dave do? Let's see. He's Leo. He's from Central California. Anyway, go ahead.
Are you a Leo?
Oh yeah, baby.
What does that mean?
You know?
I don't know what any of that means.
Very creative and very self-involved, which are both true.
Oh, well, then am I a Leo?
Nah, man, you're just a dick.
Is it? Wait, hold on. Is it okay for one to call themselves creative? Unless you're calling
definitely
yourself
not. Definitely not okay.
Creative.
Hold on, let me check Kanye's Twitter real quick.
It's definitely not okay to do what I did. Not at all. I'm not condoning it or endorsing it. I just did it, man. It's part of the character. It's part of the gimmick.
Waz, what are you?
I'm an Aquarius.
Same.
Wow, guys, cool.
Yeah.
Maybe this is why Waz and I get along so well.
Well, maybe that's why we want to kill each other.
Well, opposites attract opposites. Right? Similarities detract? Is that what that is?
I don't know, man.
This show's a mess so far. Let's talk some basketball.
7th grade science.
Dave was with me in the old Salt Lake City over the last couple of days. Dave, did you get out?
I escaped. Yeah, I'm back. I'm in Los Angeles. I flew first class yesterday.
What?
For a 2-hour flight. It was $70. I'm like, yeah, why not? So
Bleacher Report money. How about that?
Yeah, well, it was $70, Zach. I can afford $70.
Okay. Look at you.
Yeah, so I was flexing on them. It was great. The flight was half empty. But Salt Lake is a wonderful town. You know that. You lived there for a long time. It's great. And the crowd at the Vivint Smart Home Arena, whatever it's called now. I still call it Energy Solutions, okay?
Oh, you're not a Delta Center guy.
I called it the Delta Center yesterday because I didn't even recognize the Energy Solution. I don't even know when that happened.
Energy Solutions is where my heart is, and that's where some of the great jazz moments in history happened.
Sure.
The Energy Solutions Arena. But the crowd was incredible. I every time I go, I'm in awe of how passionate they are about basketball. I'm not saying they all know about basketball or understand it intimately.
Okay.
But they can pay attention and they know enough to really care and to really just get pumped. And it helped that there were like 3 or 4 almost fights at that game.
Right.
For game 4, that is, not game 3. Game 3 was a prelude to whatever that was that happened in game 4. It was fantastic. It was great to be back. And Utah looks hard to beat. I think that they can win 2 games against Houston at home just because of that crowd.
Man, I'm not gonna lie. When I see a crowd of that many white people that excited and ready to go and kill people, I just think of a huge pep rally.
Yeah, man. It was it was Charlottesville adjacent, as my man Peter Rosenberg would say.
Jade, this was a mistake. Just play TalkHoops today.
Charlottesville adjacent is incredible.
I don't think. Oh, granted, I'm a different audience than you guys are, but I didn't get that sense.
I was just going.
The Jazz fans, I kid them. They're overwhelmingly white, but that's definitely not the actual vibe.
It is very white.
You know what I'm saying? Aesthetic. But that first LeBron game back in Cleveland, woo, child. Let me tell you.
That was a rally.
Oh, right.
It was like a Jonestown rally.
Oh, wow. What did you think? I'm very curious about this because it's clearly a different experience for me. What is it like being a black man in Salt Lake City, just as a tourist at a basketball game? Is it odd to not, because you just don't see many black people around the city?
Come on, man. I'm practically white as it is. It's fine. I mean, I definitely notice sometimes, but you don't notice when you're walking down the street or anything because, as you know, no one walks in that town. It's a very sleepy town. Sometimes you have someone, whizzing by on a bicycle, but there's not a lot of street traffic, so you don't really see that many people. I don't notice that much. I notice when I go to the arena and everybody's in white T-shirts and khakis and Mitt Romney is sitting front row and yelling at Russell Westbrook. Then I start to notice.
How excited were you when you saw that Mitt Romney was there?
I was like, wow, I have so much to tweet about for the rest of the night. This is a blowout, but thank God I have all these things to tweet. It's great. Yeah, that's all I do during basketball games.
Do you notice that you become more hyper aware of your blackness in really white spaces only when another black person appears?
100%.
Just like, oh shit, there's only 2 of us here.
Exactly. Yes, I notice as soon as like that dude and I exchange like the head nod. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Exactly. When black people see each other in overwhelmingly white spaces, it doesn't turn into a Van Damme movie. Like, I
disagree.
What's the Double Impact?
Double Impact. That's a
good one.
Movie.
That's with the twins.
And the evil one who's dressed in black, which make of that what you will was. But the evil one, he has this weird drunk scene where he's imagining his brother having sex with this woman, and he gets very angry about it. It's a weird movie.
That would be me and Dave in the dirty fossil fuels arena in Oklahoma City.
It's the opposite of energy solutions. It's energy problems.
Dave, what did you make of the old Russell Westbrook experience?
I mean, he's my favorite player in the league. At least in terms of superstars. I got a lot of love for Matthew Dellavedova, obviously.
You really are representing your blackness today.
Yeah. No, I love awkward white guys in the NBA. It's just my favorite thing in the whole world. I'm also a huge Joe Ingles guy, but in terms of like, because I think when you pick your favorite superstar in the NBA, it says something about you, and it's sort of like, oh, here's my record collection. This means that I'm really smart or something.
100%.
Like when you pick your favorite guy, you're a KD guy, you're a Russ guy, you're a LeBron guy, you're a Steph guy, whoever you are, it says something about who you are as a human being. So who I am as a human being is a kind of person who dresses like a goofball sometimes, I guess, at least inside. I love Russ, and it's kind of a circus around him, not like literal, but just like the perception of him is always in the ether, and people are always judging him, and the media is really eager to try to get some gems out of him, and he often shuts them down in press conferences like he did after Game 4. I don't want to wade too much into this debate about whether or not he can win a championship alone, because it's like, who cares?
Yeah.
I don't really care about that part. I'm more fascinated. I actually thought it was just, I get why he did it, and I get this whole persona, but I think it's just weak to talk shit saying I'm going to shut that shit down, and then you get waxed in a game, and then it's, we're not going to make it about that. I just don't think you get to do that.
As a man, let me ask you, what do you say? Look, first of all, you're gonna have some bravado. This is obviously a very contentious series, so he's gonna try to set the tone, as most athletes of his caliber would do in a press conference, and say, I'm not going to let you get away with that. Then when it happens, what do you say? Do you say, you know what? I really got fucked by that guy. I think you own up to it.
I think you either own up or you double down. You don't dismiss it.
This is a white man's mentality. Is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Self-hatred. That's what it is.
It's not even I think Russ can kind of go a little bit. He leans into what his reputation is. He goes back to the well a little too often. And sometimes I'm just like, really, Russ? Really? You're going to shut down Ricky freaking Rubio? To me, that was a miscalculation on his part, right? Like, a certain type of Russ in a different kind of mood would be like, he would have did the Eric Bledsoe thing with Terry Rozier and be like, who? Right? And that would have actually kind of been more in line with what's actually going on. This isn't a Russ versus Ricky Rubio series. It's Russ versus Rudy Gobert. You know what I'm saying? Right. So it's just weird that he did that. And, I just thought it was because again, like, a lot of these guys are hyper aware of how they're being perceived, how what they're saying is going to register out in the space, the NBA space, as far as the conversation online, on TV, whatever. They're aware of how people talk about them. And Russ is like, all right, let me feed the beast real quick and say that I'm going to shut down Ricky Rubio. It's just, sometimes, because I'm not one of these people who are just like, yo, I'm super not here for Westbrook. Me and Zach have friends who are like that. I'm not one of those people.
No, I love the Westbrook experience. I'm all in on that.
I'm also not like, the whole, I'm going to show you my work. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to, when you take a math test and your teacher says, show the work, like, that's Russ. Every single time, every game, every outing, I'm going to show you the work. I'm also not here for that either. It's like the fake hustle stuff. It's kind of annoying.
At the end of the day, it's not about Russell Westbrook, though. It's not about Ricky Rubio. It's about the Thunder and the Jazz, guys. And the Jazz are a better basketball team than the Thunder, whether or not they have Russell Westbrook and Paul George and Carmelo Anthony, or they don't. Yeah. Utah's better. It's like, it's elemental. It's obvious. It's clear to me watching those two games, one team is superior than the other. And Oklahoma City has no answers. None. Carmelo Anthony, fully washed.
Oh man, he looks
like
bad.
Just straight out of the washing machine.
I've been holding on to the coral reef of Carmelo can still be useful island, and I'm ready to be swept away.
He was missing bunnies out there, man.
Real bunnies.
Yeah,
and he's so bad defensively. Like I know we know he's bad defensively, but he's like so detrimental.
He's so bad.
Even that little elbow jumper that he seems to make all the time, no matter what, for the end of time. Like, he was bricking some of those.
Well, even when those go in, they only give him 1 point. They're not even giving him the full 2 points at this point.
Because it keeps it in the glass to get 1 point. Yeah, that's how that should work.
Oh, man. And the thing with Melo, and I don't want to kill him for his defense because he gets enough, like, guff for it, but he's not even one of those guys who's like, all right, I'm going to do what they ask me to do defensively, meaning my job is this, but I'm too slow-footed, I'm too short, I'm too fat, whatever. I can't execute it to the umpteenth degree because my physical abilities won't allow me to. Melo just straight up doesn't know what he's doing.
Right.
Like
he looks lost out there.
He just straight up doesn't execute the assignment where it's like, all right, man, you know what? one of the best athletes in the world got to the rim and they jumped over you and they finished over you. We can live with that. But he's straight up just not doing his job. Like on defense, it's bad. And he's a smart player. It's not like he's this idiot, this person. I shouldn't say idiot, but you know what I mean? He's not a JaVale McGee out there basketball IQ wise. He's not. So it's disheartening to watch him just completely be a mess on defense. And then, bricking completely wide open shots on offense. It's like, Melo, what are we even here for then?
So go ahead, Zach.
No,
go ahead. I was going to say, I knew in game 4 that Oklahoma City was done. The second quarter, like halfway through the second quarter, I looked down at the box score, the stat sheet, and the Jazz were shooting like 20% from the field, and they were down 3 points. And that is always a telltale sign that the team that's down 3 points and shooting 20% is probably going to win the basketball game at the end, because they're going to start making their shots, and they did in the second half, and everything started going in, and then the score just keeps going up and up and up. And it was Oklahoma City's trash. I'm sorry.
It's just not there.
The ecosystem within which they get their buckets is so obviously healthier than OKC's, right? When you look at what OKC does for buckets, like, this is just not how a real team should be relying on bucket getting. It's just not all of this Paul George isolating or Westbrook running into a dude that's at the rim, or it's just like Melo jab steps. This is not a healthy ecosystem.
No. I'm a big interior passing nerd and pocket passes and stuff, and Utah was showing me some in game 4 and game 3, and Oklahoma City doesn't do anything like that. You're right. It's all kind of like isolations and jab steps and fall away jumpers. And every once in a while, Russ will just take over and cut to the basket or penetrate to the basket. And that's it. That's all they do.
By the way, you need to have some of that shit in your repertoire.
Sure.
In the playoffs, when defenses are hyper locked into your little actions. And
especially the Jazz defense. Like, this isn't just some slapdick defense. Like, it's the best defense in the league.
Yeah.
With the best defensive presence in the league. Like, this is nuts. This is nuts that they would be like, oh, you know what? I think this is going to work against it. No, it's the Jazz defense.
Zach, I just tried to visualize a slapdick defense. It's a problem. It's problematic.
Well, and then
I feel like that's mostly Draymond Green. That's his defense.
Right? Yeah, that's on Snapchat at least. On Snapchat at least.
Hey now.
Melo's going to opt in for. We know Melo's going to opt in for $28 million, which makes him a very rich man. But maybe you're not so rich out there, everyone, and maybe you want to go to the second round of the playoffs, just like the Utah Jazz. How do you get tickets to those games? SeatGeek. Our friends at SeatGeek make it easier. It's the easiest way to buy tickets to concerts, to comedy shows, to sporting events, the theater. Dave, I know you love the theater.
I'm a big Deflator Mouse guy. It was playing. They were doing it in Utah. I couldn't wait to get tickets, but then I had to leave.
You had to leave. Well, if you go back, SeatGeek's got you. You just go. You download the SeatGeek app. You're gonna do a couple of taps. All of a sudden, boom! They're showing you little green dots all over that seating chart. It's just like a shooting chart on NBA.com. You just look at that. You look for the green dots. Those are the makes on a shooting chart. On a seating chart, those are the good deals. Those are the ones where it's like, hey, that deal, that's the one I need. And you can buy with confidence because everything's fully guaranteed. What they do is they pool all these resources from all these different ticket sites, and then they tell you, hey, this is where the best price is. You can say, you know what? I'd like it to be $30 less. Notify me when it's $30 lower. They'll do that. They'll send you a little email. Say, hey, you got that. Here you go. $30 lower, just like you wanted. Boom. Game 3, Utah Jazz, Houston Rockets, if they can somehow upset the Minnesota Timberwolves, any of those things, boom, go see it. Here's what we can do, though. You don't just have to buy tickets. You can get something. You can get something off, Dave. You enter the code B2B. That is the letter B and the number 2 and the letter B. It's like a 2 sandwich with 2 breads around it. The B2B like promo code, just like B2K. Except
yeah, I love B2K.
Right, exactly.
Here's the problem. I'm going to type in B2K, and it's going to be like, we do not recognize this promo code. So I need to remember B2B.
Exactly, B2B. You just go download the SeatGeek app. You sign up for a new account. B2B is the promo code. You get $20 off your first purchase. So let's say $40 ticket. It's now $20. It couldn't be a better deal. That's half off if you get a $40 ticket. B2B promo code on SeatGeek. Only buy tickets with SeatGeek. How about that, guys?
Deflator Mouse at the Utah Opera, baby. Let's do it. Let's go. Let's book it.
Hamilton's in town, I think. Maybe go get some Hamilton tickets when you go back.
That'll be great because then I'll be like, oh, there's the black guys from Hamilton. What's up, fellas?
What was the serial killer from Wichita's name? STK? BTK? I forget.
BTK killer? The BTK killer? What the heck? Why are you bringing that up, dog?
B2K, B2B, BTK, bound. What's it? Bound? Tie and kill or something.
I thought you were talking about that video, Bound 2.
$20 off your first purchase.
I thought the ad was over and we could talk normally again.
Hey, speaking of the Jazz in the second round, I had this epiphany last night. I kind of think they've got a better than 50% chance of beating the Rockets in a series.
What?
I don't love the way the Rockets are playing against the Wolves. And I know they'll probably come with more focus and more execution against the Jazz team because they'll have to. But just the way the Rockets have looked other than that third quarter the other night, I just think the Jazz are playing better basketball.
Listen, man, there's a switch, and they're going to flip that switch.
They're going to flip the switch?
They're about to flip the switch. They haven't flipped the switch yet. Yeah, they scored 50 points in a quarter. But that switch, it's under lock and key right now. It's behind a plexiglass little box, and they're going to turn the key, and they're going to flip it. And Daryl Morey is going to be like twiddling his thumbs like a superhero villain. He's going to be like, yes, finally. It's alive.
Am I crazy for thinking the Jazz can beat them?
Yeah. I don't think you're crazy, but I think the matchup is kind of it's a little bit more fucked up for the Jazz in the sense that the Rockets have guys who can make pull-up threes. And so Rudy, his little hang back, let me hang in my house.
Can't do that.
He can't really do that in that way against the Rockets. And so I think that's going to cause them major problems. I just think the Rockets are way more sound defensively than OKC is. Way more disciplined. They're way more engaged. And that's, to me, that's the most embarrassing thing about the series. You got to be able to stop Utah from scoring, right? If you take yourself serious as a team, you have to be able to play, sorry guys, that's my new puppy, Jax. You have to be able to hang your hat on the fact that I can play competent defense against the Utah freaking Jazz. This isn't the 7 seconds or less Suns here. And I think Houston's going to be more effectively do that defensively. And I think offense, they present different problems for Utah.
Yeah, they're getting torched by Ricky Rubio and Joe Ingles. I mean, you should be able to shut those guys down. You should be able to switch that off. But yeah, they present far more offensive problems for Utah's defense than Oklahoma City. They just have more shooters. They have very competent, effective shooters, and they have one of the best scorers in the game. Sure, Russell Westbrook is on that list too, but look who's around him. You're throwing Raymond Felton out there on the second unit. Basketball in the playoffs is all about benches, and Oklahoma City's bench is not good. Patrick Patterson and Ray Felton and
Patterson's really bad now.
Yeah, he looks fully washed as well. You would think he would be the sixth man. He would be the guy who would be the scorer in those kind of dog days of the second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, where you just need some minutes. Unfortunately, he's not doing that. Nobody's doing that for them.
Also, the idea that, you switch up your pick and roll, turn it into pick and pops, maybe make Rudy or Derek Favors have to guard a guy out to three, and it's just Pat can't do a goddamn thing out there. So,
well, I mean, but here's have that problem.
Here's the reason though, is they can still protect the rim. I get it. Rudy can't just hang back, but they can adjust the coverage and be more aggressive on those picks, not switch it every single time and force everything in, because they do allow one of the lowest 3-point rates in the league, right? Like the Jazz just run you off the 3-point line. Now, that didn't work against Houston in the regular season. Houston just kept firing, and they'll always keep firing. But it's not like the Jazz typically get torched from outside. This is a team that doesn't really allow 3-point attempts, let alone 3-point makes. So that's why I think that if they can control the tempo of the series, and that's really the key between these two teams, they can't run with Houston. And not that Houston is the fast team that they were last year, but they're still going to want to push it more than Utah is comfortable for. If they can control the tempo and kind of grind these things down, I just think there's a better chance of them limiting that barrage of 3-pointers.
I'm wondering.
What's the status of Mbah Moute? Is he cooked? He's done for the whole playoffs?
What happened? His shoulder?
Yeah, I think it was a separation.
Yeah. I mean, if it's separation, I'm looking right now. Mbah Moute expected to miss up to 4 weeks of action. That was 2 weeks ago.
He's being reevaluated next week.
Maybe he'll be back for the Golden State Warriors. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, we think are they getting past the Pelicans?
Yes, come on. So Drew Holiday against no point guard for Golden State should be interesting.
What does he do? Do you think this is the strategy? Is you don't bring Steph back and then you just hope that Drew Holiday gets bored?
No.
Yeah. They trying to guard Iguodala or something?
They still have a dynamic backcourt dude, and his name is Klay Thompson. And Drew Holiday's good at all of that shit. Snaking this.
Oh, he's great at that stuff. Yeah.
Everything you want your perimeter defender to do, he can do it.
I think if you're Golden State, do you still run mostly the same stuff in terms of Klay, kind of flying around the court and finding those dead zones on the perimeter? Or because he can do this and you maybe want to try to wear out Drew a little bit, do you try to post Drew up more often?
Why not?
Klay is a pretty good post-up player.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a little bit less work for Klay. You don't want to wear him down, especially when you're shorthanded. And if you've got the advantage and you are a talented post player like Klay Thompson is, go for it. And then that's going to create questions in Drew's mind of like, is he going to post me up? Is he going to be running around the court? You just want to mix it up with a team like that, I think, and not do the same thing every time down the court and try to keep them guessing. I mean, that's a great idea.
I think the key, though, to this series is that Drew Holiday is not going to be fish filleting Golden State's perimeter defense.
No.
The idea that Drew Holiday is giving you 30 in a freaking playoff game is absurd.
Yeah, if you're the Warriors, you just say, "Hey, Iguodala,
I'll put anybody.
Go make that man slide.
I'll put KD on you. I'll put Draymond. I'll put Klay. You ain't getting 30, boy.
Right. But this is the problem with the playoffs. The first round is sometimes very, very deceptive, and you get in these situations where there are teams who have serious deficiencies, and there are guys who, in a 7-game series, and 3, 4 games, 5 games, can start to cook and get hot and figure out defensive liabilities on the court and can exploit them because they're playing the same team over and over again. So you get these weird moments where Ricky Rubio has a triple-double, where Drew Holiday is torching Portland, where all of these things happen. And it's like, wait a minute. Why is Terry Rozier all of a sudden the best player on the court? What's happening? It's the first round. It's a mirage.
Right.
And once you start to get these like Cinderella story teams, these fun stories up against the Titans of the league, the Rockets, the Warriors, the Philadelphia 76ers, baby. Those Cinderella stories, those fun things that are happening are going to stop happening so much.
The thing about Terry Rozier pull-up threes, right? And he could take them with confidence against the likes of Milwaukee, because it's like, shit, man, I missed this. We're still up 6 against this team. When it's like, shit, I missed this. We're about to be down 12.
Exactly. Yeah.
Against a real team, those pull-ups don't look so appetizing anymore.
Yeah, it's like you're just turning the ball over at this point.
And that's what I love about the postseason, because you get those regular season games where, say, Phoenix finds themselves in a game against Golden State and like they're shooting with confidence because it's like, man, there's 3 minutes left and I can't believe I'm so close to Golden State. In the playoffs, it's like, no, you're down 12 right now in the second quarter. You guys go 3 more possessions in a row without scoring, you're finished, and you're going.
You need those guys who can just get a bucket, and that's why, as wonky as the Cavs look sometimes, they have a guy who can basically get a bucket whenever he wants.
Right.
And that means more than anything. It's bench play, and it's, damn, man, we're down 6. We don't want to be down 8 or 9. We need someone to make a shot. And if you have that guy, you're in good shape.
Yeah, that's why Iguodala resting all season and being fresh now, the fact that you can he can just play this bath salt defense, right? Where he just goes and eats the other guy's face.
Right. Yeah. Iggy, man, he's a modern miracle, man. I'll tell you.
Uh-oh. What are you saying, Waz?
I'm just saying, like,
you saying he looks a little healthier than he did?
A guy, would be 32, 33 years old, and his athleticism would just wane. But these days, with these hyperbaric chambers.
Oh, yes, the hyperbaric chambers.
Fine baths.
Are you saying he took his... Yeah?
Dave, it sounds like, and stay with me on the first letter of each of these words, it sounds like what Waz is saying is he got healthy.
Are you saying he took his talents to South Beach for a couple of
Listen. Iggy is a testament to modern medicine.
Yeah, truly.
You think he's been hanging out with David West?
Yo, David.
The chemistry is off the charts. The chemistry is off the charts.
David West is just, he is. Oh. Actually, bleep that out, Jade. I didn't mean to say that. Sorry.
Agent Zero? Is that what you said? He's Agent Zero?
Yeah, he's Gilbert Arenas.
Dr. Gilbert Arenas and Mia Khalifa, the 2 best people in all of sports.
Is that show still on?
I don't think so.
Did it start?
Never started.
Yeah.
How'd that go?
Not well.
Okay.
Shockingly, nobody wanted to see them together.
Speaking of medicine, Dave, you were a part of this. This isn't an ad read, don't worry. This is just a segue. Dave, you were a part of the Bleacher Report 420.
That's correct.
Extravaganza. Yeah. You did something on why weed should be legalized in sports.
That's correct.
Do you believe what you said, or were you paid? Were you a paid shill?
Well, here's the problem. I was definitely paid, so I can't say that my hands are fully clean here. But yeah, I mean, come on, guys. Everybody smokes weed in the NBA. We all know that. And the best part, the great thing about this package that we did, all these videos, is that we had guys who've been in the league, who have recently retired, guys like Matt Barnes, Al Harrington, talking about, like, yeah, this is a widely accepted practice. This is a thing people do. And it's helpful. It's good for aches and pains. It's good for recovery. It's way better than painkillers. And that was the point of my video, is like, you just pump a bunch of pills into people and they get addicted to it.
This was the interesting thing to me, is it sounded like it really could help with concussions, which I didn't know. I didn't know that aspect of essentially medical marijuana in a way.
Yeah. When you hear people in the medical field talk about the medicinal uses, the potential to unlock medicinal uses within cannabis, like, they're just like, yo, this thing is damn near a miracle drug. The type of ailments that it can help heal. And, it's just...
Are you saying Iggy's puffing on that shit right now?
He strikes me as an edibles guy. He doesn't strike me as... Actually... That's a lie. Iggy's smoking J's all the time.
Actually. Oh, boy. Allegedly. We don't know that.
We don't know that. I've never actually hung out or spoken to or met Andre Iguodala for the aggregators out there. But, what's more fascinating to me, because it's the NHL, right, who doesn't test for weed or cocaine?
Correct.
Why do we think they're comfortable as a sport, as a corporation, doing that?
No one watches it?
Yeah, the stakes are lower, right?
Yeah,
in terms of sponsor. I mean, they need sponsorship, obviously, but the stakes are lower.
And nobody's going out like doing a bunch of rails and like throwing up on the Sunset Strip. Like, the people don't do that in the NHL.
Oh, people don't do that in hockey?
I mean, they're not. No one's showing out.
Here's the thing: if they did, nobody would notice.
No, some like weird Russian guy missing teeth is at a strip club and he's doing cocaine. Wow, what a surprise. Like, no one's going to know that those guys are hockey players.
So what you're saying is that the league, the NBA in particular, they think that their sponsorships will be affected by legalizing weed within the sport.
Well, let me just like throw out the elephant in the room and say what everybody's thinking. The NBA is a predominantly African American sport. The NFL is a predominantly African American sport. And the minute that you start legalizing marijuana and letting guys smoke, then it becomes scary for Middle America. Oh my God, these black men are smoking reefer, and who knows what they could do? They could have sex with my daughter. No, thank you. I don't like this anymore. I mean, we're still in some way affected by the Iverson era in the NBA, where in the Malice in the Palace and Gilbert Arenas, Jailblazers, where they're always going to be afraid of this image that they're a quote unquote thug league, even though the NBA players are some of the most like philanthropic athletes in the world, some of the best business people in the world. There's still that idea that like at any minute we could lose everything because somebody gets caught smoking weed or somebody gets caught with guns or something.
I'm willing to buy that maybe with the NBA, but particularly the NFL, where how many of their players have been known to beat women up? That's a one. It's public knowledge that they shoot these guys up with all kind of horse tranquilizers, all kind of pain pills, all kinds of shit to get them onto the field. The idea that their consumer base would be like, no. We stop at weed. I just don't buy that.
Well, hold up. But what about Colin Kaepernick, my friend? Like he kneels for the anthem and people lose their fucking mind. Like the NFL is in a very thing.
Here's the thing: is you can get away with so much percentage of our league has been arrested for domestic violence because we don't really give a shit about women. And we don't really care about minorities either in this country in the grand scope of things, unless we can villainize them. So that's where the weed talk, like that, you'd still being used to villainize. Right?
The average NFL player is treated with the same amount of respect by the fans as a horse.
Right. Yeah, and that's all it is. Fair. It's horse racing.
Yep.
Slap a helmet on CBS.
I'm betting on the game. I've got a fantasy football team. These dudes are all interchangeable. This guy might not be playing for my team in 3 months because he might have a horrible career-ending injury. He might get cut. He might get traded. Who cares? Nobody cares about NFL players. The NBA Players Association is, one, far more competent than the NFL Players Association, but two, they have the benefit of the fact that these guys are international superstars.
Right.
There's like 3 dudes in the NFL that anybody cares about outside of playing football.
Don't I know it? Oof, Lord. Shouts to the score, though. No, seriously, though, another thing I wanted to ask you guys is what's stopping the NBA? Like, because Matt Barnes comes out, he's like, yo, it's like 85% of the league is smoking. If the NBA Players Association wanted to come out and literally fight the league on this, and take it all the way to the Supreme Court and make this like random drug testing shit a civil rights issue, what's stopping them?
Man, that's a hard PR battle.
Yeah, they got other things to get
for the fan base. Yeah, and there's just so many other things on that checklist above this to get to within the collective bargaining agreements over the next couple of times that this is going to have to be something where it is legalized federally, and then the NBA will allow it. Because I just don't think, as progressive as the NBA can be or can appear to be, that is like, if Kia isn't happy with this, like that's a hard sell. And it's not that there won't be other sponsors to become the official car of the NBA if Kia drops out, but man, you can't start losing sponsors that way, whether it's Gatorade, Kia, whatever, Tissot, like all of this stuff, just you have to worry about that avalanche.
Yeah, and Adam Silver has to worry about his job. You know, if he starts making
You think Dan
unforced
Gilbert's going to care about this?
No, definitely not. I mean, the owners are the owners, and they're predominantly white dudes who don't really give a shit about those sorts of issues. And you're right. The NBA Players Association, when they have a collective bargaining agreement negotiation, they're trying to get the players more money.
Right.
That's all they're trying to do. They're trying to get a bigger slice of the TV revenue, the sponsorship revenue, merchandise, all that stuff. That's what they're trying to get. We're not trying to get dudes to be able to smoke weed because dudes already smoke weed. Who gives a shit? Like they're not getting caught as long as they pass the piss test.
That's fair. I'm just of the mind that I think a lot of this shit is overly heavy-handed in the way that they treat the fans. There's this way that we baby fans so much. It's just like, really? Like, are they this naive, this dumb?
Yeah, but isn't it interesting? Yes. Well, it's also about the money, right? Because isn't it interesting that they seem much more involved in trying to get gambling legalized?
Yeah, because there's more money involved.
Exactly, because if they got that crazy idea, if they get 1% of everything going on in NBA gambling, that is a shitload of money.
Yep,
right.
There's no money in there.
No dummy, man.
Right, unless Joe Rogan's going to sponsor the NBA for legalizing weed. Like, I don't see how this becomes a money-making thing for them. It's just risk. And the first player that gets busted for a DUI, right, because of smoking weed, man, that is a shitstorm of PR.
Again, and another part of it for me is who's actually paying attention to how stringent the drug policy is? Who are these watchdog groups?
Nerdy people like me, I guess.
Okay, so that's another part of it. Like, who's actually forcing the NBA to adopt a really harsh weed rule? Not that they have one now. It's often joked about. It's just like, it's a joke. The actual drug testing policy. It's like you learn all the way in advance, and if you do smoke weed, you know to fast for a certain amount of time, pass your test, and you smoke as much weed, you smoke yourself. Excuse me. You smoke yourself.
Hold on.
You smoke yourself.
Go back. Jade, delete that, Jade.
You smoke yourself into a cloud, the rest of the year. My thing is, like, who's actually making them do this?
It's not about making them do it now. It's about changing direction gets a lot of attention. If you just leave it the way that it is, no one cares. No one's thinking about it.
It's a blind eye.
Yeah, as soon as you draw attention to the fact that you're now making it legal, everyone's going to be up in arms. But right now,
what this reminds me of? This reminds me of all of those racist-ass laws that are still on the books in the South because nobody wants to be the one to change it. Meaning, we don't enforce this anymore, but I don't want to be the one who comes across as a lover to my constituents. Fuck that.
Jade, gotta quack that one too.
Shut it down. Let's go home.
So I understand. I understand what you're getting.
Right? Yeah, it's not Monday.
I could not agree more with that. I mean, I think it is just like there's some nonsense in these laws for sure.
Yeah, Mississippi didn't officially outlaw or ratify slavery being over until 1995, right?
Not that they still had slaves, but again, no politician wanted to put his name on the bill that said, I want to do this for the blacks.
Sodomy laws are the same thing. There are a lot of places where sodomy was illegal in America. They didn't enforce it. You can't enforce it. You can't go into somebody's house and say, hey, get that out of that butt.
All I want to say is, thank God they weren't enforcing that in Queens, New York. If you know what I mean.
I don't. I do not. Anyway, these are laws that as soon as they come off the books, people are like, why'd you take that off the books? Why did you legalize that?
Got it.
Marijuana will be, I think Zach's 100% right. Marijuana will be legal for use in the NBA, the NFL, and Major League Baseball the minute it's legal federally.
Was there anything you learned from that video that you didn't really know that surprised you?
You mean watching it? Oh yeah, I learned that I was very handsome. I had no idea that I had.
You do? Yeah, you were.
I looked good.
Ford-esque.
Anything that I learned in the process,
like just medically or about the process of it? Yeah.
I mean, I certainly didn't know how widespread opioid use was in the NFL.
It's so bad.
It's very bad, and these pills are often misprescribed or misappropriated by the teams themselves, because the team doctors are the ones who hand out these pills, not the league. There's no oversight.
No conflict of interest there. Your employer designating a doctor to you.
Yeah, we need you to play here.
Interest at all.
Suck on this. Put this in your mouth. Take this shot. Like, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy how the NFL gets away with this. But it goes back to my original point, is that as far as the fans of the NFL are concerned, most of these dudes are horses.
Yeah, get that guy on the field and make him tackle.
You got to put them down.
People wonder why I hate fans.
Well, because fans don't think a lot of the times. They're not critical thinkers. They're enthusiasts. And when you divorce yourself from your critical thinking skills, you're capable of believing anything. You love your team so much, you don't care about what's going on behind the scenes. It's sort of like when you go to McDonald's and you get a Big Mac and you're like, man, I fucking love Big Macs. They're delicious. They're so good. But the minute you think about how they make them and what's going on in the back of that McDonald's, or like where the ingredients come from, it's all over and you can't eat a Big Mac anymore. As soon as you start knowing too much about the NFL, you want to hit the eject button immediately and you want to go into a corner and cry yourself to sleep.
Well, that's the thing too. Is
Dave, how did you just perfectly describe my relationship to Kanye West? That's sanity.
Because that's what being an enthusiast means. Is what being a fan means. Is you just overlook the obvious problems. Because
think about the whole idea of like, all right, Blazers get swept, right? And everyone's like, fire Terry Stotts, get him out of here. I he's got to go. And I'm not saying we need to cry for these guys. I know they make a lot of money, all that bullshit. But think about like
what you're actually saying.
The embarrassment and the life-changing aspect for an entire family to fire someone and end their job because of 1.5 weeks of poor performance at that job that actually didn't like put anybody in danger. It's just you had a bad week and a half. And now it's
get him out of here.
Get this guy out. It's so weird. And I'm not saying I never say like, oh, we got to fire this guy or this guy needs to lose his job or anything like that. But when you really sit down and think about it, it's such a fucked up thing to say.
Yeah.
It's so weird. Like, it is such a crazy thing to want someone fired because they had a bad week.
Well, the ultimate example of this is Laker fans, at least in the NBA. Of sort of blind loyalty, but also this dark side of like, if it's not going well right now, everything has to change. Magic Johnson needs to be shot into the sun. This has to stop. Rob Pelinka needs to be arrested for war crimes. Luke Walton is the devil. He has horns and a tail, and he
try him for witchcraft.
Yeah, exactly.
See if he floats.
That is the immediate reaction as soon as you realize the Lakers aren't making the playoffs again.
Right.
Or it's like we're going to sign LeBron James tomorrow. Yes, he's still in the playoffs. Free agency has not begun, but Magic Johnson has his ways and he can figure it out. He'll make him sign a piece of paper. Like it's just a lack of understanding, or it's not a lack of understanding. It's just willful ignorance. It's like, I'm happy to not know. I don't want to know. I don't want to think about this. I just love the Lakers.
Well, I do think there is something to it. Like, I have fought that mentality a lot because I like more depth and nuance than just straight entertainment value, right, in my sports. But I get it.
This is your job too. Let's like that's
exactly.
The thing.
Yeah. But I do get it on some level of like, yo, this is like, I hate my job and this is my escape. And the Lakers scoring 110 points and winning tonight is going to make that escape that much better for me. Like, yeah. I do get that on some level, but it does feel like there should be some sort of balancing act. And that's, I don't know, maybe that's unreasonable or unfair to expect.
Well, I don't want to get on a journalism soapbox here because here I am. Hello. Wow. You guys look so different from up here. It's amazing. It's partially our job as sports writers to give nuanced takes and to make people think. And unfortunately, a lot of the internet, sports writing world doesn't do that anymore. There are a lot of places you can go that are just echo chambers, SB Nation blogs or what have you. They're just going to tell you what you want to hear, or websites that just have clickbait titles that are going
by the way, shouts to Mike Prater and my girl Elena over at SB. We're not trying to besmirch what y'all do over there.
No, I'm not hating on SB Nation. I'm just saying that like the independent fan sites are echo chambers of on some level, because Absolutely. You're just hearing what other fans think, and it's about the fan experience, and it's no longer about some smarty pants asshole telling you what you're supposed to think.
Dave, it's been my singular mission in my quote unquote career as a sports opinion haver to stop freaking infantilizing freaking fans. Stop, and also stop like deifying these motherfuckers because they buy tickets to games. Like the way that we fetishize fandom in media culture, like these people don't need to have their asses kissed to want to watch Chris Paul drop dimes on motherfuckers. Like it's ridiculous. And I think it feeds into their ridiculous behavior where that tattooed fool in Oklahoma is yelling at KD and he thinks he's being a good fan by doing that.
Well, I mean, it goes back to the beginnings of the internet and how the internet grew as the voice of the fan in direct competition with the newspapers, with the radio, with all that stuff. For years, the only way you could get your point across as a fan was to either get really drunk outside the stadium and start screaming at people, or to call in to Mike Francesa or something and try to like fumble your words out before he's like, get out of here. This is ridiculous. You hang up.
He's back, by the way, to save us all.
Yeah. As a West Coast person, I don't care at all. Yeah. But that's cool, guys. Congratulations that the senile old man is back to yell at you. Sorry, he's not senile. I don't know. People listen to this.
With Mike Francesa.
Forget people listen to this show.
What was he going to do?
Had a lot of NYPD vibes to him, that dude.
But my problem my problem with the internet is that, yeah, you're right. They do deify fans, and fans are more important. And every single week there's a Rams football game at the Coliseum. People are like, there's not enough fans. LA doesn't like football. Well, what if it's too expensive? And what if it's too hot in the stadium and you don't want to go and you'd rather watch it at home? That doesn't make you a bad fan.
What if it's a terrible live experience, which I think
football sucks.
It's so bad in person.
So whack.
And if 50,000 people go to that stadium, it looks empty. Like this there's no virtue in spending money you don't have to go to a football game and be miserable.
Right.
There's no virtue in that.
But I will say this about the whole fandom aspect is they do have to do it to some degree because of the ecosystem, right?
Right.
It's just, to me, I don't care if you're a season ticket holder. Like the idea that you feel entitled, that things have to run your way because you put your hard-earned money. Like, yeah, you did. I can go to as many, Dwayne Johnson movies as I want. If I don't like them, I can't say I want The Rock fired or I want The Rock to get a different tattoo because I don't like looking at this tattoo anymore. I want The Rock to start speaking with an accent because I don't like the way he's speaking right now. Like, I don't like, that's not my entitlement.
Yeah,
right?
but it's beneficial for the teams. The teams get money from this.
Of course, but like individual fan, sit your ass down. ESPN and Turner are giving these cats billions of dollars. Your bitch ass, quarter season ticket package doesn't entitle you to a goddamn voice. Sit down and
no, I don't mind. Like, I don't mind. Oh, hold on. I don't mind passion in that. It's when it tips to you can act however you want because fan is short for fanatic. Like, that's when you can miss me with all that stuff. Yeah, like being a fan doesn't give you the right to be an asshole, right?
Yeah. There are just places that on the internet that will go unnamed that have glorified that for a long time. Right.
But at the same time, obviously the fans are needed.
Yep.
Of course, we need fans for the games, but
then what is that balance? How much do you placate this ecosystem?
Look, part of me as a
I'm with you on all this stuff, but I do think like that's easy for us to say, but that's a real PR thing for leagues to figure out.
You know what, Zach, and maybe LeBron James and Carmelo Anthony and Steph Curry wouldn't like for me to say this, but like part of me is a basketball NBA just fanatic purist is like, I don't need these half-witted motherfuckers involved with my game anyway. It allows LeBron to be able to afford 5 Malibu mansions if he wanted to, and that's awesome, and I'm happy for him. But if he could only afford one, that wouldn't really bother me that much. Like, fuck these people. That's just where I'm at.
I mean, there are entirely too many fans that think that they have rights to scream obscenities at people. But like, I get you hate Kevin Durant because he left.
Right.
Who cares now? He's gone. Get over it. Sure, he hasn't gotten over it, clearly, because he's slyly liking Instagram posts about Russell Westbrook. But, like, just you have – these people are performing for you. You don't go and heckle at Deflator Mouse, okay? You don't do that. Especially not at the Utah Opera. Don't do it.
Yeah, if you use promo code B2B.
Deflator Mouse.
But Dave, how much of that is people actually complaining? How much of that is just an expulsion of emotion just to do it?
Well, it's not too different from like going on Facebook and complaining about those damn liberals or those damn conservatives and how much you hate them. It's the same thing.
So at what point does it actually matter? At what point is it just part of the theater of everything? And I'm not, and again, I'm not trying to defend fans. I'm trying to think about this on all sides of how much of this complaining from fans actually adds to the enjoyment of the league in some way, or the entertainment value of the league in some way that you do then get it's almost like reality TV, right?
Yeah. Well,
like aside from Vanderpump Rules, which we know is 100% real.
Yes. They're all fake. Yeah, you're right.
But like, yeah, but how much of that is just like, all right, we need a controversy. Let's get some fans to drum this stuff up.
I mean, I don't think that they're like getting fans to do things of that nature, but certainly when you look at the way the TV product is presented by the partners, from your ABCs to your Turners and stuff, there is an emphasis on showing that kind of stuff and showing the drama of the game and trying to get into like trying to record or film players doing sort of candid things on the court or like miking them up during the games, all this stuff to kind of push that narrative. It's that the narrative, the storylines are important for every sports league, because not only are the storylines important for the games, they're important for the talking head shows on the various TV partners. ESPN needs something to talk about. Fox Sports needs something to talk about, and on and on and on. I think that's fine. I mean, I've written many times for Bleacher Report about how the drama of the NBA is part of why we love it, and the weird cast of characters. I don't even give a shit about traveling anymore because I just want to see dudes get crossed up. Like I like being able to watch James Harden destroy Wesley Johnson's life every so often just because it brings me joy. Like that's fine and dandy. But I can watch the game from two different perspectives. I can watch it for the pomp and circumstance and the drama and people trolling each other on social media and get really hyped about that. But I can also lose my mind over a great pin down or something. Or like, wow, the pick and roll for this team is fantastic, or whatever it is, Yeah,
it's like I don't really care about moving screens anymore, right? Because they've been allowed for like 9 years. And I'm also, just like, it makes the
KG for a very large portion of your life.
Right.
So.
I can't root against something that the godfather of moving screens created. Like, it's be so hypocritical.
Yes.
People in Utah are so upset about Paul George's push-offs. I'm like, well, push him back. Push him back, dog.
Exactly. Donovan should just push other people and then get open. Like that's also like every good wing player pushes off to get space. Like that's just what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Ingles is doing it. Joe Ingles is pushing because he's being held by Paul George on defense, so he pushes to get around a screen.
The playoffs, man. Toughen up.
Are we not tough enough as a society?
I knew you were going to say that. No, we're a bunch of cowards. Damn it.
Sissies.
Yeah,
wussies.
I feel like Stephen A. Smith right now.
Oh, okay.
They're a bunch of
And honestly, guys,
stay off the weed.
This is ridiculous.
Shouts to Stephen A. Smith. He's from Hollis, Queens.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Well, next time on basketball back-to-back.
Before we go, I just want to share a story with Dave that I don't think I've ever told him. But at that Dodgers LCS game, the walk-off, I saw you.
Oh, yeah?
At the game.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, man, there's Dave Schilling. You were kind of far. And I was like, I'm not going to go up there and freaking be like, hey, what's up, Dave, blah, blah, blah. But I was like, oh, Dave looks nice, though. You had a nice outfit on.
I think I was wearing my Dodgers jean jacket.
I don't remember.
I don't know, but yeah, I was looking fly.
Ooh, Dave Schilling looks nice.
I was together,
especially for the playoffs, man.
Especially for the playoffs.
Great game.
Before we go, do we want to address that maybe Bernard from Westworld stole your look?
I got a text from our mutual friend Sean Keane last night saying, I think Steph Curry stole your look at the game. I don't even know what Steph was looking like.
Dave, do you consider yourself to be a light-skinned brother?
Yeah, my dad's white.
Okay. So you bathed, my man Kevin the Barber.
You see, I'm disappointed.
No,
man,
I'm
you're
not
black.
disappointed.
You're black.
What the fuck? You're black. Yeah, I think so. I would definitely categorize myself as such.
As a light-skinned brother. So you identify more with Steph and the Clays than you do with
man, I'm all about the light-skinned guys.
Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, no, I'm not out here standing for Kendrick Perkins, okay? I'm not a Thon Maker guy. Those guys are straight out of Wakanda, all right?
Oh, my God.
That's not me, man. That's not me.
Well, thanks for listening to the Monday edition of Wednesday's back-to-back episode. Zach Harper and friends. For Dave Schilling, go read him at Bleacher Report. Check out his weed video on the YouTubes for Bleacher Report. Listen to the Masked Man podcast.
Yeah, follow me on Twitter at Dave_Schilling, please.
At Dave_Schilling. And for Big Waz, for Jade Hoy, I'm Zach Harper. We got the Nerd Brigade tomorrow.